Hi there! I was recently in the market for a new watercolor sketchbook, so today we are going to be trying the Tumaurta square watercolor journal. The one that I bought was off of Amazon. It is a 5.5 by 5.5 little watercolor journal, and it is $14.88 as of the time that I bought it. This journal has cold press paper. There are 24 sheets. It is 140 pounds and has 300 GSM. This brand is new to me. I usually use the Canson XL watercolor sketchbooks, but I will say that while there are 24 sheets in this one, and Canson XL has 30 sheets in their sketchbooks, this one actually gives you a little bit more bang for your buck because the paper texture is the same on both sides of the paper. So even though there's 24 sheets of paper, there are actually 48 pages you can paint on. While you technically can paint on both sides of the Canson XL watercolor sketchbook pages, I never did because I found that the texture was a little bit different on the back of the page than the front of the page. The pages of this watercolor journal are perforated, meaning that they have little dash lines in them so that you can tear out the pages easier. There's also a back pocket to hold anything that you might need to put in there, which Canson XL watercolor sketchbook does not have that. This is the first journal that I've had for watercolor that does have a little pocket in the back, and it also has a bookmark so you can save your space. This journal does come in a few different colors, including gray, black, and brown. The one that I got was brown, and it is cloth on the front with a little elastic strap to close it all up. I promise that I'm going to start painting and showing you how gouache works on this here in a second, but I messed up here. For most people, this wouldn't be a problem to start painting at the very front on the first page, but I am left-handed, and if I start on the left side and move to the right, I'm probably going to end up messing up the previous painting with my arm and my hand getting in the way. So I started to spray this, I started to paint this in the very first page of the sketchbook, but I don't plan on doing that. I actually plan on starting on the last page and working my way forward so that I can not mess up my previous paintings. So I actually got an idea about how to fix this. My first painting in the last page of the book, I'm going to end up repainting at the very end of the book whenever I get to the front. This will make it so that I don't have to waste that page, and I can also see how much my skill level has changed by trying to reproduce something with a little bit more detail later on. The first thing that I did with this paper was spray some water on it to get it ready for the wet medium, and it also helps me test how much the paper is going to warp as I am adding things on top of it. While it is 140 pounds, I do feel like it is a little bit thicker than the Canson watercolor paper sketchbook that I've been using, and it didn't warp hardly at all. I noticed when I did the first page on the front and I sprayed water on it, it did bend like a little bit, but it wasn't multiple bends, multiple little areas of warping. It was just slightly bent overall. So I think that's really good because it means that your watercolor isn't going to pull in certain places that it warps under, or your gouache, it's going to be a lot smoother and easier to apply paint on top of. I will say there's quite a bit more texture to this than I'm used to for cold press paper. I'm not really sure why that's the case, but it's also not a drawback for me. It's just something that I myself will have to get used to a little bit more. After painting on this for just a few times, I can say that I do like this sketchbook. I think it's a lot easier to carry around than maybe an 8 by 11 or 7 by 10 even little watercolor journal. This is only 5.5 by 5.5, so it's very portable and it's very light. And I also really like that there's the band around it that holds it together so that it doesn't open and have your papers get all wrinkled from jostling around in like a backpack maybe. I know I paint a lot of sunsets and a lot of silhouettes, but surprise, surprise, I am painting another sunset and another silhouette. Recently, I've tried to learn a little bit more about how light works when things are in shadow or during a sunset or a sunrise, and this includes clouds. So for this little project, I was trying to understand a little bit more about how clouds work during a sunset. I'm not going to keep talking your ear off. I'm just going to let this go to a little speed paint clip, and I will see you here in a couple of moments. I'm really happy with the way that this painting turned out, and I do really like this little watercolor journal. I would definitely recommend this for beginners or anybody that wants to try it, because I'm not a beginner, but I am learning some things. The paper is thick, acid-free, and 25% cotton. It doesn't buckle under a lot of water, and it dries pretty vibrant. I hope you found this video helpful. Let me know in the comments if there's any other reviews or tutorials you want me to look into.